but added, "He's not so bad, Alf. It's just that he thinks all Mallorens lower than worms and treats me accordingly." Chastity sighed and abandoned the argument, turning to join her husband and the Marquis, who was travelling with them to Portsmouth. Too soon all was ready. Elf watched from the steps as the three settled into the gilded coach. At a word, the coachman cracked his whip, and the 6 horses took the weight of the splendid vehicle. Soon it turned out of Marlborough Square, both Sin and Chastity leaning out for a final wave. Passers-by had stopped to watch the departure. Now they clicked into motion like clockwork toys. Idlers strolled on, servants resumed their tasks, and children returned to games. As the world filled the space where Sin had been, Elf bit her lip, regretting the fact that she'd chosen to say goodbye here instead of at the ship. But she did hate lingering farewells, and in the end it would have hurt just as much. She thought she'd gone through the worst of this 7 years ago, when Sin had virtually run away to join the army. For a while she'd even hated him for leaving her, though she'd known he could never settle to the life Hrothgar had planned for him. The law, for heaven's sake. One of her oldest brother's less perceptive ideas. Sin needed action and challenge. He'd been home 4 times in 7 years, and she really had thought she'd grown up and detached enough not to miss him. But when he'd come home last year, he'd been deathly ill, and for the first time she'd faced the prospect of really losing him. His recovery had taken months. Then his marriage and the arrangements for his new post as aide to the Governor of Nova Scotia had taken more. The tendrils had grown deep into her again. Now it was like losing a part of herself, and losing him more absolutely because of his marriage. She loved Chastity dearly, and didn't begrudge either of them their happiness. But it did sadden her that her twin had someone else in his life, someone, perhaps, as close as they had been. She realised that she was standing staring at nothing, the 2 footmen waiting like statues to close the doors. With a sigh, she turned and re-entered her home. As she did so, she finally admitted to thoughts that had lurked in her mind for some time. She envied her twin. His life made hers painful. In some ways, she was glad that Sin was going far away. As the footman closed the door behind her, shutting out sunshine and birdsong, she acknowledged that her beloved twin had been a very uncomfortable presence over this past year. Listening to his stories, enjoying his adventures, it had gradually dawned on her that she had done nothing with the past 7 years. Oh, certainly she had attended any number of balls, routs and musical evenings, and arranged a good many of them too. She had travelled between London and Hrothgar Abbey in Berkshire, and even, mad adventure this, to Bath and Versailles. Some would think she lived a full life, for she managed her brother's homes and was blessed by many good friends. But listening to stories of travel to foreign lands, of battles won and lost, of shipwreck and snakebite, she had come to see that she had done nothing even slightly challenging. With a start, she realised that yet again she was standing staring into space, this time in the middle of the panelled hall. Picking up her delicate skirts, she climbed the sweeping stairs, heading for the privacy of her suite of rooms. Movement, however, didn't stop the thoughts from tumbling out of the dark corners of her mind, taking on clarity and a frightening form. Sin was newly wed and setting off on another adventure. At 25, he was considered to be on the brink of a promising and fruitful life. She, however, at the same age, was seen as an ageing spinster destined to spend her life in a boring round. She would care for her brother's homes, love her siblings' children, but have neither home nor children of her own. And she was a virgin. Her steps quickened, and she rushed into her pretty boudoir to close the door behind her, to lean against it as if pursued. Why had her virginity become the crystalline heart of her unhappiness? How nonsensical! After all, Sin had never kept much from her, and she'd known they'd differed in this for years. He'd enjoyed his